Hi there, I'm playing with junk again. This time we have a lime scale reducing electronic box thing that was given to me from a friend at work. He found that in his house. He bought the house and this was already installed. And one day he recognized that the LEDs here are dark, so he assumed it didn't work anymore. He called the company, which has a sticker here on the side, and they told him, well, maybe the license is terminated. You need a new license for it. And at that moment he thought, a license for an electronic device that doesn't even have any slots or ports for data communication, or well, the second thought of the salesman there was, or maybe we send someone over and he will repair it or replace it. And well, he finally found, no thank you, I rather give it to a friend who likes to work with things like that. Okay, what is it, or how does it work? First of all, you have four output connectors here, and they work in a way that you connect one coil of wire here and another coil of wire here that are wrapped around your water inlet pipe somewhere in the basement or wherever your water comes in. And due to some mystical electromagnetic effects, it reduces the buildup of limescale inside your pipes. So it comes in a water protected case, and it says here on the cover it reduces limescale in pipes, and it even sanitizes the pipes, it cleans the pipes, it protects from rusting. For example, here in Switzerland most water pipes are steel, galvanized steel. Many countries use copper pipes or plastic pipes. It saves energy and it protects technical devices and installations. It reduces the use of wash and cleaning agents, because the water is then perhaps softer, as they claim. It works fully automatically, environmentally friendly, and without chemistry. Yes, of course, it's an electric device with wires around your water pipe. The quality of the drinking water will not be changed or worsened. Okay, so, well, some of that is true, some of that we will see. Then on the side we have a 12 volt DC power input that comes with a connector like that. And when you turn it on, nothing happens, because nothing is connected. You need to connect something, close the circuit. And what I do is I take this loudspeaker here, so we can hear the signal, because it's an audible signal. Oops, just have to look that I don't short it out. And I take this too. Well, it doesn't matter. And that's the signal. Sounds like a police siren. And if you turn that back, I don't know, yes. Okay, I think that does it. As you noticed, when it is on the lowest position here, position 1, the frequency is about 0 to, well, maybe 1900 Hertz. And when it's, it goes up to 4 kilohertz, 3-4 kilohertz. And if it's on maximum, the frequency range is reduced to maybe 2 kilohertz. We can see that on the oscilloscope. So this is the highest setting here, and you can see here probably it goes up to 1.9 kilohertz. Yes, that's about the maximum. And if I turn it down to 0 or to level 1, it goes up to, yes, almost 3 kilohertz. So that's the difference. No change in amplitude, only change in frequency. I'm turning the knob now. Okay. The first thing you may wonder is I only connected 2 of these 4 contacts, and I took this one and left the other 2 out. The reason is simple. I drawn the schematic here. That's the outputs, and these 2 are only connected. So if you have 2 coils, one here, one here, these 2 coils are actually in series. So the outputs are the 2 connectors here. The other 2 are just connected together. So that's why. If you only connect 1 coil here, nothing happens because the circuit is open. The unit will not work. If you only connect that coil, the same. If you connect a coil here and here, it would work, but only with 1 coil, and that's not what the manufacturer wants. Yes, let's open it and have a look inside. And as you can see, there is not much inside because the entire PCB is potted in some super hard epoxy-like stuff. But there is a print with a chip and the LED strip. Let's see what's underneath here. We have a stereo potentiometer. That's 2 potentiometers on 1 axle. We see that 1 potentiometer goes to this board here. 1, 2, 3 contacts, the red wires. The yellow, black and gray wires go into this soup here. And then the other wires here come out. And you can also see that these 2 connectors here are simply connected with a wire. So output is these 2 here. There is the DC input, also goes into the soup. There is no way to open that. You can see a little bit a ridge here where the edge of the PCB probably is. It's not right angle, it's a little bit like that. So I think they just placed the PCB in, poured all this stuff over it and let it harden, and that keeps it in place. yes, it works. So interesting thing here is this chip. It's a UAA180, and if you are familiar with cheap hi-fi electronics, that is the chip that drives an LED bar display here. And it does that with a simple DC input. The more voltage on the input, the higher the bar rises. And that's what this side of the potentiometer here is doing. And the other potentiometer is obviously regulating the frequency. By the way, the UAA180 circuit is still used today. This is, for example, from a RC, aircraft or car. It's a battery monitoring device. You clamp it to your battery. There is a resistor you can change according to the battery voltage. And here on the back side you see a row of LEDs directly connected to the chip. So it's a bar graph voltmeter. The chip here is called, what's the name? It's not UAA180, but something similar. I can't see it. Well, it's the LM3914, but it does basically the same thing. Okay, so that's the technology of this device, and now we will see how it actually works, or maybe not, who knows. It seems that these magnetic or electronic devices are around since a long time. Here is an example from 1957 or so, the EVIS device. And as usual, on the website of these manufacturers you find pictures of pipes with a lot of scale or not so much, and you never know which one was first and is it the same. And you also get these magnetic things in smaller or bigger versions from China, for example. There are clamp-on devices. There are devices with two coils with open ends, and devices with two coils and both ends connected, and two coils wrapped around each other, and maybe four coils with open ends or not. And the principle is simple. It does something with the water, and yeah, nobody knows how it works. Although this is not completely true, the manufacturer of course explain you in all details how it works. These explanations may be wrong, maybe not, but there is also a document I found that confirms that it can work if the device is adjusted to the properties of the water system, and it depends on what kind of water you're treating with it. So they used it in a wastewater treatment facility, and they found that in those pipes where sludge and dirt water was transported, the buildup of a crust was much reduced inside the tubes and also inside the pumps. They found that in freshwater installations, drinking water and so, the effect was also there, but only in a much smaller scale. And they also found that the devices needed much more power, so the manufacturer made one device exactly for this experiment at this plant. And they are speaking about power settings of several hundred watts. And well, I believe if you put that much of energy into water, be it electromagnetic or whatever, yes, it can have an effect. But they also make clear you have to adjust your device to your installation. So any device that is only wind some wires around, turn it on and forget it, that will most likely not work properly or not work at all. Here, for example, is an explanation how these magnetic scale reducers should work. You see they have drawn these magnets outside the pipe, and they state that there is a Lorentz force. That's something that exists but not outside of the magnet. And they say it restructures the molecular bonds of, I don't know, the water, the lime inside the water, who knows. This is obviously a very wrong picture. If the magnetic field lines, the yellow arrows, are going through the water from one magnet to the other, the Lorentz force, if the water moves to the right, the green-blue arrow, the Lorentz force would be towards us, that's the red arrow. It's of course inside the pipe where this force happens, and well, it's a force, it probably moves the water to one side of the pipe or whatever, but it does not restructure any molecular bonds or something like that. And if the magnetic lines, the yellow arrows, are along with the pipe, depending on how the magnetization of the magnet happened, there is no Lorentz force at all, because the medium, the water, moves in the same direction as the magnetic lines. It doesn't cross the magnetic lines, so there is no Lorentz force at all. The reason why these devices are still around is simple: clever marketing. If you get offered one of these things, you always have the possibility to try it out for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe half a year. And if you're not satisfied, you simply return it. You don't have to pay. You only pay if you're happy with it and if you keep it. So they give it to you, you try it. If you're happy, you buy it. If you're not happy, you give it back. There is no fraud in this scheme, no problem. The problem is these devices are all completely overpriced. So for example, I have a colleague at work who had one of these magnets offered to try. The price for this magnet, a clamp-on magnet, was 2,000 Swiss francs. So that's about $2,000, maybe a little bit more. He tried it out. He found it has no effect, and he gave it back. So everything fine. If someone buys this magnet, for example, for 2,000 francs, I think the manufacturing cost of this unit is maybe 10 francs. So you could sell it for 20, still making profit, but that's too cheap, and something that is so cheap cannot be good. That's one of the psychological problems. If only one person buys one, and I don't know, 90 persons give it back, or 99 persons, they still make a profit, because they can sell or try to sell the other that came back. So they have a stock of 100. If they sell one or two every month, they're fine. And they are selling much more than one or two. I have read on the website of one company, they're selling 10,000. Well, over the past of a couple of years, but anyway. Yeah, that's how it works. So my advice is, don't buy it. If someone offers it, don't take it. And well, you can try it, but give it back. That's fine. There is also a very interesting document from the US Army Corps of Engineers from 2001, and they tested a magnetic or two magnetic scale treatment things and one electronic, and they built an excessive test rig where they tested it over a pretty long time, and they came to the result as that there is no difference between the treated and the untreated water. They especially looked at the claims of corrosion protection, and they also found that it doesn't protect anything from any corrosion more than, well, if you have nothing installed. Pretty interesting to read. I recommend it to download. You find it on Google when you search for the title. And one remark to the EVIS device from the 1950s. This company was shut down by, I don't know, the government or court because of false advertisement. They even claimed that water treated with their device would help plants to grow better, and well, that was obviously a little bit too much, so they were out of business after a couple of years.